Choices. Have you ever thought about how many times a day you get to make a choice? Right? There's those daily choices. What to have for breakfast or lunch, or which route to take to work, or what clothes to wear. And then there's those other important choices. You know, where to go on vacation, when to relocate maybe and change neighborhoods. And of course, there's always picking out the right piece of furniture or the best tile pattern for a floor or a backslash, right? Sometimes those important choices can really test a relationship, right? But eventually, you make a choice. And the answer, dear, whatever you want, is not one of those choices. But then there are those life-sustaining choices. Which education course to follow? When to change jobs? When to get married, or whether to get married at all? And it's really these life-sustaining changes or choices that really make us think about that determination and that commitment. In today's gospel, Jesus is walking us through the choice of discipleship. And he uses those two perspectives, kind of a story within a story, to talk about it, to show us what it is. His first approach is determination. Our gospel writer, of course, intentionally uses this script and points out to us that Jesus is going through Samaria to reach Jerusalem. Why that? Well, the Samaritans hated the Hebrew people, the Jewish people. In fact, so much was a problem that they made Jesus very uncomfortable and unwanted in their community. But Jesus knew that Jerusalem was where he would fulfill his promise. And basically, he said to the people, as unwelcoming as they were, here are my words. Listen to them. If you choose to believe, follow me. If not, okay. There were no regrets. There was no antagonism. There were no tantrums. And there was no violence. Jesus showed an extreme tolerance of love. Kind of what we say today is, it is what it is. How often do we see that or not see that, either in our government, the world, or even in our own homes and families? Now, Jesus' second approach to discipleship was commitment, that strong commitment. You know, recently, about halfway through a vacation my wife and I were taking, for some reason, we had decided that we were going to change our eating habits. You know, we were going to eat healthy and drink all the proper beverages and just maybe even in that midst shed a few pounds. We were determined to do this. Well, that commitment lasted about an hour after we got home from the vacation. I don't know, our attitude must have changed. Every one of us, in some way, shape, or form, have had a bout with commitment. That's the second half of today's gospel. Jesus says to the people, follow me. But he seems a little put back by three simple requests. The first request was, of course, are we going to be comfortable? Am I going to have a home to sleep in? And the second request was, fine, but let me first go home and finish my responsibilities at home with my family. And the second, of course, was simply to say goodbye to their family. Well, these weren't three specific requests or three specific individuals. But what Jesus was addressing was their failure to commit to bearing the good news of God, to being carriers of the joy of the gospel. And how do we know that? Well, that resistance was there because it was just 5 chapters earlier in this same gospel that Jesus said to 4 fishermen, "Follow me." And they dropped everything to follow him. They had that commitment. Here we are, 2,000 years later, and we too have been invited to follow Jesus. And apparently we have said yes to that invitation because we are here. And isn't it just fortunate, isn't it good that our slips, our trips, and our falls don't take away from us being followers? Heck, we're not that much different than the original 12, as imperfect as they were. But what makes us followers? That same determination, that commitment, and our faithfulness of God. For that makes us all a people who have said yes to that invitation of Jesus. Follow me. Now, Tuesday, we're going to say goodbye to someone who truly answered that invitation, follow me. I don't know of many people that had showed the same example of what it means to be the joy and the spirit of the good news of Jesus than Monsignor Caverly. He always lit up when he spoke about the love of God for his people. And anybody who knew him knew that he was what it meant to follow Jesus. I'm thoroughly convinced that his spirit, his joy will have an effect on St. Raphael's parish for many years to come. You know, the determination to choose to be a disciple of Christ, that determination and commitment can be challenging. And that's why we gather here every week, the body of Christ, to be nourished by each other, nourished by the Word, nourished by the Eucharist. And it allows us to do the best we can to be that follower of Jesus in our daily lives. Choices. Every day, Jesus gives us the choice to follow me.